Welcome to Aiken This Week. I'm Emery Langston. I am so excited today to be joined by Catherine Wade of One Table, and we are going to be discussing this very unique Aiken event, and we're so excited to have it back this year. So Catherine, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, let's just jump right in.
Okay.
Give us a little bit of background on One Table.
All right. Well, One Table actually did begin as a soup kitchen event. St. Thaddeus had it and actually prepared Thanksgiving meal for the homeless and the more underprivileged in our community. And a couple of people got together and say, what about doing this for the whole community? And then they tossed around some names and they came up with One Table with the idea that we would all be eating at one table, obviously. And so it expanded from an actual soup kitchen to a community-wide event within 1 year. And we are in our 10th year.
Wow.
And so it had wonderful beginnings and it continues to move.
Absolutely. So that it evolved. It's had one life,
Yes.
and then it evolved into something else. And so why?
Well, I think that the idea of it was Barbara Franklin, who does Christ Central Ministries, and Eddie George, who was at St. Thaddeus and is also with the city. They just had the wonderful idea to involve the community in something bigger than ourselves.
Sure.
And so to come up with this and to almost to recreate what the idea of Thanksgiving should be about.
Absolutely.
To where people come together and they're giving thanks and they're enjoying one another in, their neighbors in the community, and just putting aside, socioeconomic levels and races and genders and all of that kind of stuff, just kind of putting it all aside and saying, we're going to have this one meal together. And I think it's very unique to Aiken. We haven't found any other city who does anything on this scale, and so we feel privileged that it's here.
Absolutely. It is a program that is so Aiken.
It is Aiken.
I think that is so special because of what it does mean to the community.
Yes.
Can you speak to that a little bit deeper?
Well, Aiken is a wonderful place to live, and I find even through this how incredibly generous people are, not only with their resources but their time. And so people, I think for most people, it's an opportunity to serve in their community in a visible way, but not in a showy way, but
Sure.
in a visible way. But to be part of something this big where you have, 1,500, 1,800 people in the community coming together to eat one meal. And, I think it means different things to different people.
Sure.
There are a lot of retired or elderly in our population who don't necessarily have family here, and it gives them an opportunity to serve, or if not serve, to come and eat with a group of people.
Absolutely.
And so that's one thing. And I think a lot of families come out because they want their children to either participate in something like this, but also to see it.
Right.
To just see it. And we've had people who are visiting from out of town who've asked, we've heard these stories where they've asked, what do you do at Thanksgiving? And people say, oh, you need to go to One Table. And they're just astounded at, how it all comes together, and that all these people are eating together and being in one place together in a very peaceful, wonderful way.
Absolutely. And it has grown over the years. And how many people usually attend?
It's always hard to say, but we count plates, and so that's kind of a dicey way sometimes, because sometimes people end up with more than one plate.
Sure.
But we think that we range anywhere from about 1,200 to about 1,700
Wow.
people
Wow.
who will come through the buffet lines during those hours that we're serving.
Catherine, this is such a large event and it's such a large undertaking. Can you kind of go into some specifics about what it takes to pull this off?
Well, we typically start at the beginning of the summer, meeting and just deciding who's going to do what, which is always interesting because it seems like it still falls to the same people, but that's okay because we all enjoy it. And so it starts at the beginning of the summer and we just begin to divide up the jobs. Then once it gets to be about September, we start publicizing it a little bit to start getting people stirred up to think about it. And then October 1st is when we start taking volunteers. And we usually will limit that. We used to do it for a month. That wasn't necessary. It fills up within the first 5 days. So we did from October 1st to October 10th this year. And we have probably on site that day, there will probably be about 200 volunteers who are doing everything from serving to picking up trash to being the hospitality givers around the tables, just checking to see if people need things. We want people to feel pampered and loved.
Sure.
And so we have people who do that, who deliver drinks and desserts and all those kinds of things. And so bringing those 200 people together and is interesting to try to match people and desires with jobs, and so that takes time. We have the guys who actually grill the turkeys. We will grill over 100 turkeys every year.
Wow.
And they come out and they start on Wednesday. They used to do it all night long, but now we've moved to doing it the day before. And so that takes, hours to clean those turkeys and then to grill them. And the guys that come together that do that, they love that. It's just a big, hangout party.
Yeah.
And we feed them and they get to hang out, and we pray that the weather will be good so they're not sitting out in the rain.
Absolutely.
But, then there's the preparation of the food as far as the actual covered dishes that people, and that takes someone coordinating with the churches who participate with us, coordinating with them as to what plate to bring. And so you'll have churches that provide mashed potatoes, churches that provide rice, churches that provide macaroni and cheese, and so on for our whole menu. And so that takes hours and hours to get all that coordinated and making sure that we have what we need to serve, the guests. And then there's there's publicity and trying to get the word out into the community, and just talking with people to make sure that people recognize and understand that this is for everyone. It's not just for the homeless or the underprivileged. It's for everyone, and we want everybody to come out and participate with us.
Right. Well, it sounds like and I know that the atmosphere in the event it's almost like being at your grandmother's house, just on a 100 times fold.
That's right.
With all your best friends. And what a wonderful opportunity. Well, I know that you're working with a committee, and you've spoken to all of the jobs that go into this, and kind of touched on the churches that are involved. So do your committee members, do you split it up, and you have team captains that are in charge of one thing or another, and how do you get the churches do they volunteer to say, we're going to do mashed potatoes and green beans? Can you kind of give us some specifics?
It's sort of just the tradition. It started way back, that this church would provide this, and most of the churches have continued through the years.
Okay.
We've added some churches, but it's we designate that you're the stuffing church, and we give you the number of pans that you need to prepare that much stuffing, and we leave it up to the liaisons at the churches to make sure that happens, and it really, that runs really smoothly. It's kind of amazing, just the generosity of the churches, who are already doing so much to take this on and participate this
Absolutely.
way. And I think a lot of people like doing it that way because they want to do something, but they might have people at their house,
Right.
and so they can't come. But this still their way of donating resources and their time to make sure that everybody has a good day.
Absolutely. So there's a lot of food. There's a lot of food.
A lot of food.
A lot of food. So where does all the food come from? I know that that we're just talking about the churches being responsible, but where the turkeys, everything that y'all serve, where does that all come from, and what do you serve?
All right, the turkeys are all donated by an anonymous donor. His family pays for all of the turkeys, so we don't ever have to, try to scramble up and get people to donate turkeys to us. And so they donate anywhere from, I think our most that we prepared were 130.
Wow.
And we're at 105 this year. And so those are donated. The most of the covered dishes come from the churches, but we invite the public to provide desserts.
Oh.
We invite people to bring pies and cakes and brownies and cupcakes for the children. So that's always an opportunity for the community at large
Yes.
to get involved in that piece of it. But it's your traditional Thanksgiving meal. We serve rice and mashed potatoes for the people who don't like rice. I'm a rice person. Others are potato people.
Sure.
And we serve cranberry sauce, stuffing, gravy, turkey, obviously. We have macaroni and cheese, green beans, sweet potatoes, corn on the cob,
Wow.
rolls, and a variety of jelly salads, and those kind of Watergate salads and things that
Yes.
people love. And then we have a whole host of desserts. We stage all of the desserts at Newberry Hall,
Okay.
and it is so exciting to go in there, and it smells wonderful when you start to cut the desserts. There will be literally hundreds of pies and cookies and cakes, and to be in there when it starts getting sliced up and put on plates to go out to the tables, and it's hard to not want to just start sampling.
I'm sure.
But so we have that whole range. I mean, it is literally your traditional Thanksgiving meal.
Well, logistically, as we're talking about this and the desserts are staged at Newberry Hall, logistically, how does this work? Where are the turkeys? Where are the covered dishes? And is it a situation where folks are served?
Absolutely. Well, the covered dishes start arriving about 8 o'clock on Thanksgiving morning. The desserts kind of come in the day before but still throughout the night and the morning. And so they get taken back to the kitchen at Newberry Hall,
Okay.
and they are kept in warmers.
Oh.
And then we set up buffet tables on Newberry Street, and we have 2 buffet lines, 4 actually, but 2 tables, and so there are 4 lines. And the plates, the dishes come from Newberry Hall, they go onto the buffet tables, and we have volunteers that serve the plates as the people
Okay.
come through the line. And so they get to say, yes, I want this, I don't want this.
Oh, my
and so
goodness.
they literally, it's a cafeteria style
Okay.
delivery. Then we have a station where we stage the drinks, and they can get tea and water and coffee. And so people pour the drinks, and they literally take it out to the table and ask people what they want to drink. And we
Oh, my
have people circulating that are carrying, pitchers of tea, pitchers of water, coffee to serve individuals that are seated at the table. And then the desserts come out on trays as well. And if you're sitting there and you get to pick all the desserts that are on that tray,
my
you get to
goodness.
pick what you want. And so you get pampered when
I-
you come to Thanksgiving dinner. And you don't have to clean up afterwards
Oh, my
at your
goodness.
house.
But there are lots of volunteers who are there
Yes.
who do, I'm sure, are on
Yes.
that cleanup duty.
There are, and most people are wonderful and pick up after themselves and stuff. But sometimes you've got parents with a bunch of children, and it's hard to do that. And so So we have individuals that circulate throughout the day, just picking stuff up and making sure that the area stays clean. And then afterwards, when the tables are starting to be picked up, and the tables actually come from churches as well, that they donate the tables for that day. And those tables go up, and we try to leave it spotless when we leave after the dinner. No one would know that we were even there.
How about that?
And so, which is a wonderful gift for the city. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff going on.
So what time do y'all start in the morning to prepare?
We start, the guys start cooking the turkeys. This year they'll start on Wednesday morning.
Sure.
They will start cleaning and preparing the turkeys for the grill. They'll start grilling about mid-morning. And we've got a big super grill this year, they tell me.
Okay.
And they're able to grill about 30 turkeys.
Oh my
and these are
goodness.
10 to 12 pound turkeys, so good sized turkeys at a time. So that must be a super grill. And so they will grill those, and I'm not sure how long that takes, but probably multiple hours.
I would think
and,
so.
Then they store them in, they seal up containers so that they just kind of continue to cook a little bit. And so that morning about 8:30, they will start, they'll take those out and start carving them.
Okay.
The tables arrive, and that's the greatest thing, because trucks back up to the alley, they offload those tables, they put those chairs out, and it's done within 30 minutes.
Oh
and
my
it's
goodness.
like elves coming in and, and putting them all out. And we have a crew that comes in and decorates the tables to make that nice. And so my group usually gets here about 7 o'clock, just to make sure, that things are ready for the people who are going to start bringing the food and that kind of stuff.
Sure.
And we have a drive-through that people can just drop off their covered dishes. We have people ready to receive those and bring them back to the kitchen. And so it's quite the production. It's very choreographed. I wish it went as smoothly on the day as it does in my mind, but it really does, and people are so helpful. If they're not tasked with something and they see a need to do something else, they will do that, and so that makes life very easy for that day.
Absolutely. Well, and doing it over the course of 10 years, I'm sure that there have been lots of lessons along the way.
Yes.
Can you kind of talk about the evolution of One Table?
Well, the biggest thing this year has been we changed the time. It used to run from 11 to 2, and we've done that every year until this year. And we're going from 11 to 1, because really from that 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock hour, we really weren't seeing people come.
Sure.
And obviously if there's people in line at 1 o'clock,
Sure.
we're not turning anybody away.
Right.
But we've cut that time off just to make it a little more streamlined for the cook staff, but also just volunteers. It gets them home earlier, and so that has changed, which means that the number of volunteers has changed and gone down a little bit, because we don't need quite as many people, because we're not spanning the greater amount of time.
Sure.
The process for cooking the turkeys has changed. Like I said, we used to do it overnight, and so by Thursday morning, you had some bleary-eyed,
Sure.
grillers who were comatose, and trying to deal with the turkeys for that day. And so they figured out that they could grill it the day before and keep them, and it would all be, fine. And so they've changed that, which has been much better for everybody. It's hard to ask people to come and stay all night long
Yes.
doing something
Yes.
like that.
Yes.
And the committee members have come and gone, people that have helped, they help a couple of years and move on, and which is wonderful. We're glad to have whoever wants to come whenever they want to come. And and obviously, some years we have more people than other years. The one wonderful thing that God always blesses us with is that we have great weather. And that's what's a wonderful thing about living in South Carolina, is usually you'll have good weather
Sure.
at Thanksgiving. And we've had one year that it was kind of cloudy, and the moment the last table went in went in the truck, the bottom fell out and it poured down rain.
Oh,
but
my
we
goodness.
had gotten everybody else, fed, and everybody had left. And so we felt very satisfied by that. But most of it, we just kind of, we've done different things with how to transport the food out to the tables and those kinds of things. Differences in how we deal with the desserts as far as, streamlining that. It's more of streamlining. It's not, you have those lessons learned, but nothing's changed tremendously.
Sure.
Whoever came up with the initial pattern did a good job.
Well, you did speak to the weather. Do y'all have a rain plan? Is there a contingency?
We do. We always set up in the municipal building and set tables up and have them decorated as well. And people go in there if it's a little chilly. Sometimes
Sure.
we have people that will go in there and eat. But we do have that set up, and obviously a lot smaller crowd can eat in there at any given time. But we do have that as a contingency. But we say our prayers diligently, hoping for those good days.
And we will say them this year for the upcoming event. 200 volunteers in the community response to this. Over the years, and the players have come and gone. Can you kind of talk about the community's response and kind of what this is?
Well, I can speak to last year when we didn't have it. And, just the community. I mean, there wasn't anybody who was ugly about it or anything, but there was you never know that how important something is until it's not there.
Right.
And we saw how important it was to the community just by that sort of the outpouring of, oh no, they're not having it. And so it inspired us to absolutely bring it back. And we had no plans to not do it.
Sure.
But I just think that, sometimes we take things for granted, but I think this is one opportunity where people don't as much because it's such an involved, process and event, and that it's not something that, one person puts on.
Right.
It's a whole big effort with a bunch of people putting it on, and so there's buy-in,
Absolutely.
And so when you have that coordinated buy-in of that they feel like they're a part of it and they're a piece of it and they're helping make it happen, and I think that that's just so important to everyone. And so for us to have it is a blessing. It's for people to want to participate is an even greater blessing. But I think people realize that it is, and that it is unique to our city, and it's one of the things that makes us great.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yet just one other thing that
Yes.
makes us great and very Aiken, and we have spoken to that. Well, tell us about this year. What is this year going to look like? Kind of talk about that, because I know we have the all that wonderful construction that's going on in the alley.
Yes, we were a little hesitant this year about whether we would actually be able to have it in the alley because of the construction, and we're excited about the construction because we know it's going to make our downtown area even more beautiful. But it did place us in a precarious situation of what we needed to do. But we've been assured that they would be on schedule and have their part done, and so that they would open the street back up for us. And so we're counting on them to do that.
Absolutely.
But even if they don't, we have a plan to adjust and just pull it out onto Newberry Street and just change the design a little bit and have it so either way we're ready, and we'll make it happen. So, but it will be different. We won't have trees. I always joke about the tree leaves falling into people's food and to their drinks, and so we won't have that this year. But I think it'll be fine, and whatever adjustments we need to make we'll do it.
Absolutely. Will y'all have any entertainment?
Yes, we do. We haven't talked about that, have we? We have multiple groups that will come. sometimes we have the homeschool band, and we have different church groups that will come and just sing, and we have some canned music sometimes. But we all have musical groups that will come and sing patriotic music or spiritual music. And one year we had a bluegrass band, and so I'm not sure what's on tap this year, but we will definitely have live music and entertainment so that there's that background.
Sure, and just
add to it. It makes it all more festive, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Well, Catherine, let me ask you this. Over the time that you've been doing this, the 10 years, can you think of any one particular memory that just stands out to you, something that you saw, that you witnessed, that is One Table? Can you share any of your memories with us?
Sure, I am. I have multiple memories, obviously, but one stands out. There was a gentleman standing by a wall, just leaning up against a wall, and probably middle age, and he was just looking at people. And I walked past him and spoke to him, and probably walked past him multiple times. And one of the times he grabbed me, and he just said, "I can't believe this." And I said, "What do you mean?" And he said he was recently divorced, and he had just moved to Aiken, and he said, he said, "I couldn't even begin to imagine being at Thanksgiving by myself." And he said, "Somebody told me about this." And he said, I wasn't sure what it would be or what to expect. And he said, "I have just stood here and watched people helping each other, talking to each other, laughing together." And he had tears pouring down his face.
My goodness.
And he said, "I cannot tell you how much it means for me to live in a town where people would do this kind of thing for their neighbors." And to me, it just sort of epitomized how I feel about it, but how I think everybody else feels about it. And I think that, I don't know, just those mornings of getting here and people are excited, and to people, they begin to line up, about 10:30, people begin to line up for lunch, and just to walk among them and welcome them and thank them and for coming, and that just to have them thank us for continuing to do it. And just people are happy, and so often people are kind of grumpy, and they're struggling with things in life, and there are just so many things that weigh us down.
Right.
And I don't know, I get there, and it's like this one moment in time where there's none of that. There's just, people are just happy, and I feel so blessed to be part of it.
Absolutely, what a blessing.
Yes.
What a blessing for our city.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being a part of this and being the event organizer and bringing this back. And as we're wrapping up today, Catherine, is there anything else that you would like to share with us?
I just want to invite people to come. Just come and see what it's like. You won't believe it, and just all this that we've talked about, just to experience it firsthand. And everybody is welcome, and we want people to come.
Absolutely, absolutely. Catherine, thank you so much for being
here today.
Thank you for having me. And we're looking forward to One Table.
Absolutely.
So we hope that everybody will come out to One Table from 11 to 1 in the alley on Thanksgiving Day. We appreciate you being with us today, and we'll see you next time on Aiken This Week.